संकीर्तन की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Do it together. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripa tamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Paramanand Madhav Shri Chaitanya. Okay, Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone. Okay, I'll try to share there. It's visible? Okay. Cool. So we are going to hear from Srimad Bhagavatam today, Canto 1, Chapter 9. Very nice, interesting piece. This is the passing away of Bhishma Deva in the presence of the Lord. Okay, this is the topic. I've been given a set of shlokas. I'll try to cover the first 3 shlokas by translations and purpose. The other 11 shlokas as a pastime. Most of you know the pastime, so we'll do the takeaways from that pastime. Okay? So we'll go to shloka 22. We can do it together. Tatapi ekanta bhakteshu Pashya bhupanukampitam Yanme sumschatata sakshat Krishno darshanamagataha Tatapi ekanta bhakteshu Pashya bhupanukampitam sumschatata sakshat Krishno darshanam agataha Tatapi ekanta bhakteshu Pashya bhupanukampitam Yanme sumschatata sakshat Krishno darshanam agataha. One wants to read. Tatapi ekanta bhakteshu Pashya bhupanukampitam Yanme samstadata sakshat Krishno darshanam agataha Tatapi ekanta bhakteshu Pashya bhupanukampitam Yanme samstadata sakshat Krishno darshanam agataha Tatapi ekanta bhakteshu Pashya bhupanukampitam Yanme samstadata sakshat Krishno darshanam agataha. Okay, word by word meaning. Tatapi, still, ekanta, unflinching, bhakteshu, unto the devotees, Pashya, see here, Bhupa, O king, Anukampitam, how sympathetic, Yat, for which, may, my, Asun, life, Chajataha, ending, Sakshat, directly, Krishnaha, the personality of Godhead, Darshanam, in my view, Agataha, has kindly come. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Yet, despite his being equally kind to everyone, he has graciously come before me while I am ending my life, for I am his unflinching servitor. Purport. The Supreme Lord, the Absolute Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, although equal to everyone, is still more inclined to his unflinching devotees. He is completely surrendered and knows no one else as his protector and master. Having unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord as one's protector, friend, and master is the natural condition of eternal life. A living entity is so made by the will of the Almighty that he is most happy when placing himself in a condition of absolute dependence. The opposite tendency is the cause of fall down. The living entity has this tendency of falling down by dint of misidentifying himself as fully independent to lord it over the material world. The root cause of all troubles is there in false egoism. One must draw towards the Lord in all circumstances. The appearance of Lord Krishna at the deathbed of Bhishmaji is due to his being an unflinching devotee of the Lord. Arjuna has had some bodily relation with Krishna because the Lord happened to be his maternal cousin, but Bhishma had no such bodily relation. Therefore, the cause of attraction was due to the intimate relation of the soul. Yet, because the relation of the body is very pleasing and natural, the Lord is more pleased when he is addressed as the son of Maharaj Nanda, the son of Yashoda, the lover of Srimati Radharani. This affinity by bodily relation with the Lord is another feature of reciprocating loving service with the Lord. Bhishmadeva is conscious of the sweetness of transcendental humor, and therefore he likes to address the Lord as Vijaya Sake, Partha Sake, etc., exactly like Nanda Nandana or Yashoda Nandana. The best way to establish a relation is in transcendental sweetness is to approach him through his recognized devotees. One should not try to establish the relation directly. There must be a medium which is transparent and competent to lead us to the right path. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. Okay, Hare Krishna. Now, what I would request Prabhuji is if you can start sharing from the next shlokas as we go along. That will be nice. Thank you so much, Prabhu. It's difficult for me to shift screens and I'm sharing my whole screen, right? Okay, let's start with a very simple question. Is death fearful? Yes, no, maybe. All of us have experienced. It looks like. Or we are fearful of death, that it might come someday. What is the answer? Is the stage of death fearful or that it might come down someday? I see fear in answering this question. Don't worry, it's not that bad. We'll keep it simple. We'll try to answer this question probably through the class today. And most of you will agree that the idea of death or the situation that what might happen post-death, the uncertainty of what is happening, what might happen, is a fearful situation for an ordinary person. But for a devotee, as we go along, we should be fearless, right? Abhaya Charanara Vindare, right? So we'll try to answer this. So we'll go shloka by shloka. We're looking at shloka 22 right now. Very simple, it says, Shri Krishna, although equal to everyone, is still more inclined to his unflinching devotee. So we know the background of this entire incident, right? So Bhishma Dev is in his deathbed, right? In the bed of arrows. He's lying down, and Lord Krishna, along with all the Pandavas, and very elevated personalities, including some of the higher world personalities, the demigods, have all assembled there. Why? To see Bhishma Dev leave the body? Is that the reason they have come? Why should we take association? To pay respects. We are missing a point. Exactly, right? That was my point. So they are all assembled here because Krishna told, if you want to hear instructions on how to lead a proper life as a king, being the king who is also a saint, right? So if you want to do that, let's hear from Bhishmadev. So he takes Yudhishthira and everyone along with him. And when Bhishmadev is actually passing on the instructions to Yudhishthira, which is the flow, what's happening, he tells, I'm so pleased that this person who is here, who is equal to everyone, is showing special mercy towards me. Is Krishna equal to everyone? Yes. Where does he say this? Wonderful, Prabhu. So, Samoham Sarvabhuteshu, right? Name Dveshtina Priyaha, right? I am equal to everyone. There's no one that I envy or who is very friendly to me. But, there's always a but, right? So, Krishna tells, but for my devotee, I am going to show special mercy. He told this in Bhagavad Gita. Now, where does he prove this? Right? Many times we have this Bhakti practical application of Bhagavad Gita. Now, here is the situation. Krishna tells, I'm equal to everyone, but I have special favor for my devotee. And here is the example. Right? Bhishmadev is passing, and Bhishmadev agrees to what Krishna is told. Bhagavad Gita was spoken before this, right? So, Bhishmadev agrees to what Krishna is told, saying that, look, he's equal. Even though I was in the opposite party, he's showing me special mercy because I know he is the Supreme Lord. I am his devotee. Right? So that was the mood. Like, so when we say the Lord is Samadarshi, there is always this thing that the Lord is Samadarshi. But there is always, the Lord also says, I reciprocate equally to the situation what they are giving to me. There is reciprocation of how I am treated. Where does he say this? Yetamam prapadyante tams tateva pachamyam. Correct? So the Lord, so now we can understand why the Lord is favorable to someone and not favorable to someone. Or Lord is very merciful towards this person, not to me. And why is that? I am not ready for it. I am not showing the love that the other person is doing. And this is where this very particular verse purport to this. Srila Prabhupada has very nice points. So what I'll try to do is have a couple of takeaways through the session so we can remember, probably we can summarize at the end of it. So here, despite the fact that Bhishmadev is telling that Lord is so merciful, he comes to me, he has come to me while I'm leaving my body, Prabhupada in the purport very nicely mentions that you can approach the Lord only through his via medium. You always need, you cannot approach him directly, but it's best when you approach him through a personality who is your via medium, right? That is our first situation. All of us here definitely know what we are talking about. It could be Srila Prabhupada, it could be our spiritual masters, it could be our Shiksha Gurus, it could be the devotees that we associate with. There is learning from each and every person that we can always pick. There are qualities in each and every one service that is always a learning. He can be a new devotee with lot of enthusiasm. He could be a very, very senior Vaishnava with the attitude in which he is serving. There's always a learning that we always have to look for. Well, how does this help? Right, so you've heard this term Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. Ekeha Kuru Nandana. What is Vyavasayatmika Buddhi? One-pointed attention. Right, so recently we were in Vrindavan during the Kartik month, and we were hearing to Asit Maharaj at Govardhan. Asit, he gave a very wonderful class, very sweet class, but he told that you have all started your Govardhan Parikrama right now. Have this one simple focus that I'm doing it for the pleasure of the Lord. Don't worry about leg pain, don't worry about eating. Then he pointed out to this point saying that one point that I'm here for the pleasure of the Lord, and this entire trip is very pleasurable with the association of devotees. And he told this is not because you're going to do a Govardhan Parikrama for the next 6 hours, because you're going to take breaks, you're going to hear Katha and everything, but at every service, even if your service is for 10 minutes or your service is for the entire day, have that focus that this is for the pleasure of the Lord. Then your service becomes very relishable. Otherwise, you start finding faults. If this had happened, this would have been nice. Many times, whenever we are arranging for the class, the mic stops working just before the class, right? So your focus changes. So this should have happened here. The video should have been better. The TV your focus should be on what is happening. What is my service? Okay. Why am I saying this? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, to the explanation of this particular verse, says that whatever I am ordered by my spiritual master, That is my life and soul. I don't care for liberation. My only business is to serve my spiritual master, and it calls this as Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. Again, going back to the point that it's a via median. And what is it? The instructions that I get from my spiritual master has to be my life and soul. Okay. So, are we all getting instructions from our spiritual masters? Are we taking the instructions? Do we understand what a spiritual master wants? We have all, at least we have a desire to take a spiritual master. Some of us might not be initiated, or even though we are initiated, and we take instruction not only from our Diksha Guru, but also our Shiksha Guru and other authorities. Are we taking enough? Are we making it our life and soul? And whenever we have a difficulty, go ask a senior Vaishnava, how do I solve it? Right? That is the right attitude to have. I've got an instruction, I'm not able to do it. Let me compromise on the situation, because I'm practical. Right? Many times we use this word practical. We'll probably cover that in a couple more shlokas later. Okay. So the purpose is the best way to establish a relation in transcendental sweetness is to approach him through his recognized devotee. So we'll move on to the next shloka, shloka 23. There are a lot more points in the purport, but I have a lot more to cover as well. Bhaktya veshamano yasmin vachayan nama kirtayan tyajan kalevaram yogi muchyate kama karma bihi. The personality of Godhead who appears in the mind of the devotee by attentive devotion and meditation and by chanting of the holy name releases the devotee from the bondage of fruitive activities at the time of his quitting the material body. Okay, there are so many things. Srila Prabhupada talks about the Navavida Bhakti that is important. Here, Bhishmadev himself is talking about attentive devotion through the different processes, including the chanting and meditation process. Okay, so we'll probably focus on the most important point, according to me, in this particular shloka is attentive devotion. Okay, so all of us understand attentive devotion. How many of us finished 16 rounds attentively today? Okay, how many of you finished 8 rounds attentively today? Very nice, Prabhu. Shri Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Sudarshan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so it's not fair that you people don't raise your hands. I see many of you chant very nicely. Of course, I didn't see it today. I'm yet to finish my rounds. But when we are doing our service, being attentive about that service is also important. And chanting is the first service usually in the day, or the most important service, like all of us here, right? Are we chanting attentively? Are we doing our devotion attentively, right? And this has 2 ways to look at it. Okay, yesterday we were discussing a Bhagavatam shloka. In fact, it had a very, very wonderful point that said, being attentive also means that you do not take offenses from someone else. Okay, this was my understanding. Again, I'm not quoting any acharyas here, but I felt this point was very nice, wherein it said that when you feel someone is hurting you, someone is insulting you, someone is not respecting your service, specifically within the devotee community, you do not take offense. We all understand that we should not offend others. That part we are all clear. Usually we are clear. The youth boys rarely offend devotees, but many times there are others who might do something which you feel is offensive towards you. Okay, this particular topic was about Jaya and Vijaya being cursed by the 4 Kumaras. This will come in the 3rd canto. There, the Lord immediately appeared as soon as Jaya and Vijaya fell down at the feet of the 4 Kumaras. You all know the incident, right? The 4 Kumaras come, Jaya Vijaya block them. And as they block, the 4 Kumaras curse them to go to the material world. Immediately, Jaya and Vijaya fall down at the lotus feet. The Acharyas very nicely quote that, look, Jaya and Vijaya are highly qualified. That is why they are in the personal service of the Lord. Still, they could have counteracted the Brahmanas curse. It's not very difficult for them. They immediately fell at the feet of the Kumaras, who were 5-year-old looking boys, right? So they were not yet pure devotees. They haven't yet realized the Lord. The Lord is coming. So that pastime is yet to come, right? But the Lord immediately appeared because he understood that my devotees have not taken the offense. The Lord is very pleased with that attitude, right? So not only with the aparadh, but any of the services that we do, when we do it attentively, the Lord becomes very pleased with us. Okay, so attentive service, it's very important. Um, Krishna is the treasure house, right? So, and we want the treasure. All of us want the treasure. Okay, all of us know the story of Ali Baba and the cave. How does the cave open? Khulja Sim Sim. Right, all of us know this, right? Khulja Sim Sim. The person has to very attentively tell Khulja Sim Sim. Then the treasure opens. It's the same thing with Krishna. Our chanting or our services, when we do it attentively, the treasure actually opens. And that's very nice, right? So no one becomes, like there is a Tamil comedy that says, no one becomes Obama overnight. So what I'm talking about attentive chanting or attentive service, it takes years of practice. It's not going to happen overnight. So it's okay not to worry. Just that have I improved from yesterday? Have I improved from my first round? Have I improved from my previous beat? In fact, Mahatma Prabhu, when he was giving a class on Japa workshop, he told, focus on every beat. I'm talking about chanting becomes very important. Attentiveness starts there. He says, focus on every beat. Focus on the first Hare Krishna of every beat. That is attentive chanting. It's not about how many rounds I do. Am I doing my entire round focused? Every beat, every mantra. I need to start there. Our attentive service is throughout. Okay. Anyways, let's move on. Let's move on to Shloka 24. What is Bhishma Dev's position? Sadeva Devo Bhagavan Pratikshatam Kalevaram Yavad Idam Hinumiham Prasanna Hasa Runalochano Lasan Mukham Bhujo Dhyana Patas Chaturpujaha. May my Lord, who is four-handed and whose beautifully decorated lotus face, with eyes as red as the rising sun, is smiling, kindly await me at that moment when I quit this material body. Here, Srila Prabhupada mentions Bhishma Dev knew that Lord Krishna is the original Narayana. He knew the exact position of Lord Krishna. Okay. Here again, another very important takeaway or very important lesson to learn is which army did Bhishma Dev fight for? He was fighting in the side of the Kauravas. All of us know that, right? He was basically fighting in the side of Adharma. Recently we had the Bhishma Panchaka. We were hearing a few things about Bhishma Dev there also, right? So Bhishma Dev was highly qualified. All of us know this. And he also had this Ichha Mrityu. He could leave his body whenever he wanted. Right? That was a blessing. He was personally trained by Ganga Devi in the higher planetary systems before he was sent back to his father Santanu. And then he was also trained by Lord Parashuram himself. Just by the very statistics, Arjuna was incomparable to Bhishma Dev. Bhishma Dev was way ahead of Arjuna, and Duryodhana knew this. Duryodhana's whole idea that we will win this war was because of Bhishma Dev, Dronacharya and Karna, according to him. And Bhishma Dev was obviously the first name that he would put it in his list, right? There's no one else. But even in that kind of a situation, Bhishma Dev, why did he fight for the Kauravas? He had signed up for that, right? He had the agreement. And he was duty bound. Exactly the word that I was looking for. He was thinking, this is my dharma. He was thinking, this is what is my duty, not what is my dharma. Many times I was just talking about the practicality aspect of doing a service, right? We get an instruction to do a service, we understand, this one looks very complicated, let me do what is more practical. As you take on more responsibilities, sometimes you have to take a decision, you have to take the call. And that time, our call should be on the side of dharma, Guru Sadhu Shastra, not on the side of practicality. Very difficult. Trust me, it is very difficult. Because as we take decisions, as we take on more responsibilities, we take on more decisions. There's no one else who will tell you, do this, do that. You have to take a decision. And then you start noting down, okay, this is Guru Sadhu Shastra. This is what Srila Prabhupada followed. This is how My Guru Maharaj is instructing. This is what I have heard in so and so class. This is what the acharyas say. Very difficult to follow, but I will try to follow this. Not the easier way, because this is more easy to do. It's more practical today. Like, so Bhishma Dev, despite all this qualification, ended up on the losing side. Why? Because on the other side, who was there? Krishna was there, so was Dharma. Right? So, the very first sloka of Bhagavad Gita elaborately, Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre, Dhritarashtra had this very thing, that in this holy place of Dharma, what will happen to my sons? Right? So, Dharma plays a very important role. Okay? Now, this, despite all this, despite where Bhishma Dev fought, he was a devotee, which is also very difficult, right? We keep hearing these examples of Vibhishana being a devotee in the Lanka area where everyone was a non-devotee, or Prahlad Maharaj being a devotee among all the asuras around them. Very difficult to follow. Each of us also have to go through that. Some of you are fortunate, some of you are in saffron, staying with devotees full time, giving them association, taking association. Some of us are not. Practically, some of you, if you become grahasthas, you will have that thing that you have association for a major chunk of your day with people at office, people at home, with your friends, colleagues, well-wishers, so-called well-wishers, who are non-devotees. Being a devotee there is what stands out. Being a devotee there is very, very difficult. And I always take inspiration from a lot of these grihasthas who actually do it. It can be Kripamay Gaurang Prabhu, it can be Anadi Jagannath Prabhu. These people, they are at office, they are working, they are in a very senior post at office, Uttam Damodar Prabhu. They do all that, but end of the day, they are focused towards Krishna. Being a devotee in a non-devotee area is very difficult. I'm telling Kripamay Gaurang Prabhu because I came to KC because of him. Because of the way he behaved at office. He would not eat. We would go for office parties. He was my manager. He would not eat. I was a pretty junior. Like, "Ye khata nahi hai." He would make fun of the pizzas and the coke that we would get at office. And slowly I said, "Why are you doing it?" Okay, off-sites he will not come. Office outings, he will not come. Chocolates at my desk, he will not come and pick up. Basically, eating was my favorite habit. And he would not come for these things. So I would go and ask him why. I says, "You know what, in Bhagavad Gita it is said we should not do this." I became curious, right? And then when I started behaving that way a few years later in a different organization, we actually split up. He went to a different company, I went to a different company. People respect when you actually follow something seriously and sincerely. People come down and ask. I did not think that I was respecting Kripamay Gaurang Prabhu at that time. For whatever reason, I thought, okay, what is he doing? Let me try to be inquisitive. But people definitely respect us. When we go with the tilak, when we are very sattvic, we don't get agitated. When we take prasadam, we feed people prasadam. And anyone has concerns, they come and talk to us. We refer back to Guru Sadhu Shastra. Very difficult to be a devotee among non-devotees. But when you do that, the Lord is happy. And the entire purpose of a spiritual life is to keep the Lord happy. Correct? We all understand that. Simple. Okay? So every time you get an opportunity, everywhere you are, think, is this favorable to Krishna or not favorable to Krishna? Correct? We all do that. And as you people mature, as you people grow both within the spiritual society that you are in, and if at all in the material things that you might have to take up as a responsibility, always remember this point. That it is easy if you are practically just following, keeping KC very, very simple but practical throughout your day. 2 hours in the morning chanting, then bead bag, hang kar diya. Now I'm in a karmi dress, I go to office. But my attitude is what makes all the difference. So when it's between practicality and dharma, always choose dharma. Okay. Now, as we are ending this particular 3 verses, there are a lot of nice points. But let's see. Bhishma Dev is what is his mood? I am seeing the beautiful Lord in front of me as I'm passing away, and I want to see the Lord in front of me while I'm leaving this body. Not very easy for us to do, right? So we can have examples of Srila Prabhupada, we can have examples of other wonderful Vaishnavas or devotees who have left their body hearing to Kirtan among association of devotees and all that. But we don't know what will be our situation. There have been Vaishnavas who have left their body probably in an accident, probably with no association and so on. What should we be thinking? Will we get that association? Will we see the beautiful form of the Lord? So all of us know this wonderful shloka from Mukundamala Sutra. Right, Kulashekar Alvar, what does he say? Krishna tvadiya pada pankaja pancharantam advaita vishato me manasa raja hamsa prana prayana samaye kapavata pittai kanta varodana vidhau smaranam kutaste. He says, my throat is going to get choked. I will not be able to breathe during my death time, right? And kapavata pitta, everything is blocked everywhere. My dear Lord, how will I be able to remember you at that time? Please take me away now while I'm healthy, while I'm able to remember you. What is the right answer that the Lord gives? You remember me when you can. When you can't, it is my problem. Right? When we can't remember the Lord will remember us. For that, we should be qualified for the Lord to remember us. That should only be our attitude. We don't need to worry. Again, death is not fearful for a devotee because it's not my problem, it's the Lord's problem during death. During life, when I have the full consciousness, it is my problem that I behave properly, I act properly. When the end time comes, we don't know when it is going to come. It will come for sure as death. So it will come, and when it comes, like Bhishma Dev, we might not be fortunate to have the Lord, our acharyas, our associates in front of us, hearing the Harinam going around. It might be very fortunate if we have that. Even if we don't have that, don't worry. We don't need to worry, right? It's not our problem. The Lord will remember us. What we will do is we will actually jump to shlokas 32 to 42. There are 11 shlokas. I will probably take on key points. I have another 20 minutes, but we all know this pastime. So quickly we'll take the pastime and take on the key points here. Okay. So here, this is the pastime where Bhishma Dev is telling about how he came to the bed of arrows. Okay, so we all know this katha, keeping it very, very simple. 10 days of the Kurukshetra war is over. Bhishma Dev, the Bhishma Dev that we are talking about, highly qualified. Duryodhana expected the war to be ending very, very, very quickly, but it is not ended. So he comes to Bhishma Dev and tells that you are definitely not fighting to your capacity. If you did that, none of these Pandavas could have survived. Okay, so Bhishma Dev says that, look, I have put in all my effort. Okay, but even if you still think that I have not done that, here is what I can do. I will prepare these 5 arrows with all the power that I have had throughout my life. Prepare these 5 arrows, and these 5 arrows tomorrow I'll shoot at the 5 Pandavas. There is no way they will survive these 5 arrows. So Bhishma Dev vows that tomorrow the Pandavas are dead. He prepares it, so we know that Duryodhana says that I will keep the arrows. Bhishma Dev, you are very merciful. If someone asks, you will give away. So I will take these 5 arrows. Bhishma Dev says, be my guest. He happily hands it over. So as soon as Duryodhana goes back to his camp, Lord Krishna. So Bhishma Dev knew that obviously there is Lord Krishna on the other side. It's not a big factor for him. He knew this. So Bhishma Dev, so Lord Krishna goes to Arjuna, says that, hey, you know what? You helped when the Gandharva Chitraketu attacked Duryodhana, and you go and ask him that day you had promised me you will give me something. So today you go and ask him for those 5 arrows. Arjuna says, what 5 arrows? I have lots. I have unlimited. I have a quiver that produces unlimited arrows. He said, no. Go to Duryodhana. Don't worry about which 5 arrows. Just ask him, give me those 5 arrows. That's all. Right? Arjuna knew no head, no tail of the story. He says, okay, you're telling me, I will do it. Simple. Arjuna was that kind of a personality. We are very simple. Okay, my authority has told, I will do it. Why will I do that thing that is told by my authority? Simple. Whatever happens, it is his problem. Simple. Many times when we do service, do it with that attitude saying that I have been told this, I will do my service sincerely. The result, I don't need to worry. If it's good, bad, if they have asked me to do a kirtan, I will do my kirtan. If it's not good, if people have not relished that kirtan, it is the problem of the person who asked me to do the kirtan. And I am doing for what? What am I doing it for? Pleasure of the Lord. That means I'm doing it sincerely. If you understand this factor that I'm doing my service sincerely, that is a very, very clear, simple thing. Okay. Results, we are not very worried. So Arjuna's simple attitude is to Krishna said, go get it. Okay, he went there, went to Duryodhana, tumko kya chahiye? I will give you whatever you want. You want to stop the war, take the kingdom, I will give it to you. You are asking, I will give. You are my younger brother. He says, no, no, war we will take care. Tomorrow morning we'll again meet in the battlefield. But today give me those 5 arrows. Give me the 5 arrows. The 5 arrows. Duryodhana is not asking how you know, what you know, which 5 arrow. He says, okay, here you take. Arjuna brings it back, Krishna breaks it. Duryodhana rushes to Bhishma Dev saying that the 5 arrows are gone. Bhishma Dev says, not my problem. Tomorrow we will fight. I will fight Arjuna tomorrow because I'm fine, but I cannot recreate these 5 arrows. Duryodhana is unhappy, he goes back. Krishna is happy, Arjuna had no clue what's happened. Bhishma Dev is now feeling ki, throughout my life, I'm called Bhishma because I have kept on to all the vows that I have taken throughout my life. And today I have broken my vow. So tomorrow, Krishna will break his vow or Arjuna will die. What was Krishna's vow? He will not lift a weapon on the battlefield. Clear? So Bhishma Dev says, okay, here we go. Let's actually fight next day morning. So the battle happens. Bhishma Dev and Arjuna face each other. Bhishma Dev is shooting arrows, left, right, center. Arrows are hitting Arjuna. Arjuna's crown is gone away. Bhishma Dev is hitting one arrow to Arjuna. By the time Arjuna recovers, another arrow to Krishna. Krishna is hit. No, Krishna's blood is coming out of his body. We know this situation. Where is the deity? You've seen the deity of the Lord where the blood is come? You have not seen? You should definitely go and see. This is the Lord called Parthasarathi in Chennai. It's one of the Divya Desham for Shiva Vaishnavas. Okay, the Lord there is called Parthasarathi. He's wonderful, huge Lord. He's got huge mustache. He's the king on the battlefield. He's a charioteer, in fact. And there is this Ucha Vigraha. The Mulavar is the huge Lord. The Uchavar who is down there, you understand the Ucha Vigraha, the Lord who comes out. So his face is full of pimples. Not pimples, basically, the hurt marks that have been hit by Bhishma's arrow. If you have not seen, you should definitely go there and see. You should take darshan of the Lord. He's very, very beautiful there. He's very different from the regular Radha Madhav, Radha Shyam Sundar that we see. Very beautiful, but very different. And this is your Parthasarathi. And that is the same Parthasarathi that we are talking here, right? So he's the Sarathi of Partha on the battlefield. And there, the pastime of this Bhishma Dev shooting arrows at Partha, or the Sarathi of Partha comes in, Lord Krishna. So he's hitting Arjuna, he's hitting Krishna. He's hitting Arjuna, he's hitting Krishna. Krishna is looking, Arjuna is just not able to recover. At one point in time, he gets off the chariot. We know this story. He gets off the chariot, picks up a chariot wheel that's lying abandoned. He takes it, rushes towards Bhishma saying that I'm going to chop you off. And it said that in the shlokas, it actually says that Krishna's uttari actually falls off. Arjuna is jumped from his chariot holding on to Krishna, and Krishna is dragging Arjuna along. He says, no, stop. I'll fight. But you are not supposed to lift the weapon. You please stop. So Arjuna, Krishna is dragging him. Bhishma Dev puts down his bow and arrow, and he says, I was just waiting to see this form of you, my Lord. Right? So in Srimad Bhagavatam, the rest of the pastime you know. So we will continue. We'll go back to what we are supposed to be studying. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the very first canto, third shloka, very beautiful shloka, Nigama Kalpataror Kalitam Phalam, you actually see a very long purport by Srila Prabhupada. He talks about the different rasas that are there. Right? One of the rasa is called Virya Rasa, chivalrous mood. And to see the chivalrous mood of Krishna exhibiting, or the devotee exhibiting towards Krishna, the best of examples is this Bhishma and Krishna's pastime. Right? So here, Bhishma Dev is put down his arrows and he tells, I wanted to see this form of you, my Lord. What is this form of you? Blood has come from the Lord's body, and obviously it's a battlefield, so all the dust is gone onto the body of the Lord. Right? He's filled with dust. And Bhishma Dev has heard about that little Krishna many, many times. He's not experienced little Krishna, the Krishna of Vraj. The Krishna who is Nandanandan, Yashodanandan, right? He's not seen, he's just heard of that Krishna. And when this Krishna used to take all the cows for cow herding, right? So he was a cowherd boy, the calves first and the cows later, towards this beautiful place called Ter Kadamba. Most of you should have gone. If you have not gone, please go to this place. When he would return back, there's so many cows, 9 lakh cows is what we keep hearing. We don't know how they fit in, but so many cows are there, and the dust would rise, and Krishna is walking among them, either playing his flute or playing with his friends, shouting, running, jumping. He's filled with the dust of Godhuli. And Bhishma has heard of Krishna filled with dust, and he looks even more beautiful than the Krishna who is newly taken bath. And Bhishma Dev has never seen this. So he says, now with the dust that has filled your face, that's filled your body, I can remember that Krishna only. That Krishna I've heard of. You're so beautiful. That is the Godhuli Krishna that I can remember at this point in time. Right? So Krishna, why did he lift the weapon? We all know. So Krishna is called Bhakta Vatsala. Very nice. So Krishna is called Bhakta Vatsala. He will do anything for his devotee. He takes a promise, he will break the promise for a devotee. You have your karma, he will remove the karma for you. You don't have to put extra effort. Or your effort should be single focused. That's what we started. Your effort should be single focused only towards the service that we are doing for the pleasure of Guru and the Lord. Guru and Gauranga. Okay. See, there are very, very wonderful points that are there. It says that Krishna rushing at Bhishma was just as a lion goes to kill an elephant. Okay. And it continues, shloka number 41, Bhishma Dev continuing the pastime. He says, this entire thing, I can remember only of this particular Krishna who is the charioteer of Arjuna, who has come here so mercifully towards me. And what is the position of this Krishna? He is so wonderful that he has taken the position of a charioteer. But in shloka 41 he says, in the Rajasuya Yagna, it was assembly of all the wonderful personalities. Everyone from around the globe had come, around many multiple places, heavenly planets, and everyone had come. And everyone decided that the most important person in this assembly, or the person to be the most respected, is Lord Shri Krishna. Okay, this Krishna is worshipped by one and all, and all of us are he is the most exalted personality of all of this. Now I can meditate with full concentration upon this Supreme Personality of Godhead as I live my body. So what is our material situation? In our material situation, we always want to control and conquer. Correct? We want to control the situation. We want to conquer the situation. The 2 C's that are there. And this is there for every person doing with the material attitude, even in a spiritual situation. But usually in the material situation, I want to be the controller. If I am not in control, this particular thing is not in my control. Many times you have heard people say this materially, that I am not able to control, this is not in my control. You are asking the wrong person. So any of you are working in a corporate, you would probably understand this reference. You say, this is above my pay scale because I cannot control this. If someone is coming and asking for a promotion to a manager, you usually, oh no, this is above my pay scale. I'm not in control. There's someone else who is in control. Because all of us want to be in control of a given situation. These are the 2 C's, control and conquer. What is it with spiritual life? There is another C that is added. It's a 3C situation. What is the first C? You actually are conquered by Krishna. You are conquered. You are in control of Krishna. So your control and conquer is done by Krishna if you concentrate on the Lord. Concentrate on the Lord. Control and conquer becomes the problem of the Lord. So here Bhishma Dev wants to be controlled by the Lord, is ready to be conquered by the Lord. That's what happened with the end of that pastime. And that's the same mood that he's carried throughout as he's lying on the deathbed as well. So wrapping up the takeaways that we have just discussed, then we can go for any questions if anyone has. So the first of the takeaways that we had was what? Anyone who has made any note? What was the first takeaway that we had? Krishna is equal to all. Okay. Right? And then, what did we continue? Very nice. One-pointed service and Okay, that was later. Attentive service. There's one more important point. Doing it for the pleasure of the Lord. One pointed attention, it comes there. It's very important. Dharma and practicality comes later, but yes, when we have to choose between dharma and practicality, what should we do? Dharma, which is given by, that was the first takeaway from the first shloka that said, surrender to Guru, approach Krishna through a via medium. Correct? So very nice. You have covered most of the other points. Another important point that I would again like to re-emphasize is, do not worry if you're not able to do a certain thing at the level expected or as someone else is doing. Someone might be doing very wonderfully in whatever service. They may get more marks in Bhakti Vaibhav class. They might do wonderful kirtan. Most importantly, this is the book distribution season. You will see. So this was told to me when I came to KC. I've been here for quite some time now. So they said, your book distribution is a practical example or practical scale by which you can measure your sincerity in doing service. The number of books people will take from you is a measure how sincere you have been. Okay? And I carried this for the next 10 years because I could never give enough number of books compared to the people who I would go with. In fact, even my son used to give more books than me. I'm like, yaar, koshish to kar raha hu. Then I had a discussion. They said that, don't worry about the result. You do your work, right? Do not compare your success by looking at someone else, which is what happens in the material life. Your success is measured in the rat race. Like, are you more successful than another person? In spirituality, you're not measured against anyone else, but against yourself. How much are you giving it to Krishna? How much are you hiding from Krishna? How much time for Krishna? How much time for me? How much is me? How much is in everything else? Correct? And that is your measurement. And you have to introspect. It is only you who can take a call. Why this? Again, you cannot become successful overnight. Right? For you to, for typically any sports person, let's say an Olympic runner, if you ask him, the entire duration of time that someone, just not able to recall, Usain Bolt. Okay, Usain Bolt, if you ask him, the total number of gold medals that he won in Olympic, the amount of time he would have run is less than 5 minutes. All his gold medals put together, he's run less than 5 minutes on the track in the Olympic final races. For this, he has practiced 8 to 10 hours every day. Right? Every day so it said that about 8 to 11 years, that is what is the practice period before he won his first Olympic medal. 8 years or something. Right? So our success is measured by not the gold that we get, but the amount of effort that we have put in throughout. And that comes back to the final point that we started with. Is death fearful? Death is not fearful for a devotee, because that long duration of time, whatever long duration of time, 2 years, 3 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever is the time that we have had, all this we have practiced to think about Krishna. So here in one of the purpose, it actually says that I'm not worried about liberation. The devotee is not worried about liberation. Because what is death for a devotee? I sleep here, I wake up in the service of the Lord. I wake up at Goloka, I might wake up at Vaikuntha, I might be here in hellish planet, but I'm still in the service of the Lord. That's all right. So death is not fearful for a devotee. So as we progress, because we are talking about the topic of death, just to conclude, as we progress in our spiritual life, you will understand that fearlessness will automatically come. Not with death. I'm probably not qualified to talk yet. I don't know if I'm ready. But with every situation in life. Death is fearful situation, very fearful according to material people. But every situation is fearful. Your office, marriage, if anyone wants to go there, right? At every situation there is this practical thing that am I going to be fearful what is going to happen, because there's uncertainty everywhere. We all agree there's uncertainty what's going to happen next minute. We also don't know what's there in the breakfast, if it's going to be salty, if it's not going to be tasty. Yesterday was Ekadashi, today I'm expecting wonderful feast. But there's uncertainty everywhere. Many times Jagannath takes care of it automatically. Devotees take care. Rasana Prabhu is sitting there. He's already calling saying that class is ending, we'll have prasadam shortly. Now the thing is, the devotee should not be concerned about what is coming up next. Rather, he should be concerned about, am I doing my seva sincerely? Okay, it's almost 9 o'clock. We will stop here. Anyone has any questions, any comments? Anything to add, please feel free. Yes, Prabhu. It's okay, Prabhu. I can repeat the question. You can go ahead. Ask easy question. You're thinking so much. Don't worry, we have Bhakti Vinod Prabhu behind us. So. Thank you, Prabhu.
For dharma and practicality, so I stay at home with parents. So there, most of the time when I get such situation, I choose for practicality only, because I don't want to expose in front of them. So there, is it okay to choose practicality?
So very nice question. Let me repeat the question. Prabhuji says that I stay with my parents, and many times between dharma and practicality, I have to choose practicality to make sure others are not hurt, make sure my spiritual life, whatever is happening, it continues. Like exactly what I said, Prabhu. We can choose practicality, but we should understand this is not dharma. Not doing it completely enough. So I'm conscious of what I'm doing. I'm not taking the easy path because it's easier. I'm taking the practical path because I have a longer journey to cover. You have to understand that there is a right path at the end of it, the dharmic path. And if you're not able to do it today, you slowly progress towards it. Right? The first time when I stopped onion garlic at home was a big deal. Vegetarianism was easy because we were vegetarians, but moving from telling my parents that we will not eat onion garlic was difficult. Probably it took a couple of years to settle that down, right? So what is the easier way is, in the association of devotees, give your best. Give your best. Then automatically your parents will understand he's enjoying. Don't make Casey become a burden when others are looking at it. Arey, my son is waking up so early. My son is not eating properly. That is their concern. They love you, right? So that's why practicality makes sense, right? But for you to do that, when you tell that I'm enjoying what I'm doing, Casey is definitely something you can relish. You can show that you're enjoying. When parents understand, when spouse understands that you're relishing it, they will automatically become favorable to what you're doing. Then you will follow the dharmic path. So it's, again, don't try to turn everything overnight. Many times devotees are very wonderful, right? They come and immediately they say, "Chalo, kal se main devotee ban jaunga." In fact, we had a person in my Bhakti Viksha who came. Within a few months, he shaved his head. I had not shaved. I had, in fact, never shaved. So he came, he shaved his head. He visited the temple a couple of times. He visited our Kudlo center a few times. He became shaved up. He stopped everything. Bhishma Panchaka came. He followed the first level of Bhishma Panchaka. Then his parents took him to a psychologist. Really, you can. So they thought this guy is gone. He's become crazy. And they came, they met all of us. We are all normal. So they should know that we are enjoying. We are not suffering in KC. Right? They will become very favorable. It's a short duration. Take it up. Right? But understand what you're doing is not because it's easy, but because it's what is required today. And I have the right path that is there for me. We should be very conscious about that decision that we're doing. Because once you take the easy steps, no, we continue to take easy steps. चलो एक बार होटल में खा लिया, अभी तो क्या है? With parents only, no. I'm eating non-onion garlic. I'm asking for Jain food. 10 years later, you're still eating Jain food in the hotel. Because you took that choice. You should know that that's not the right choice. Thanks for that question, Prabhu.
Very good.
Any other questions? Anyone else wants to add anything? Please feel free. Otherwise, we are done. We can stop. Yes, Prabhu.
It is said that in Chaitanya Charitamrita that Shraddha Sakti Vishwas Kaya Sudhir Nishchay Krishna Bhakti ke liye sab karm kritu. So if one performs the devotional service to Krishna, he is not obligated to any other duty.
Correct.
So how we can understand it?
You should come to that. You should come to that stage, Prabhu. We should also understand there is a very thin line between what is our responsibility versus what is my sense gratification. Right? So taking care of my children is my responsibility. That's not sense gratification. So I'm not obligated, but I'm responsible for that service that I need to do towards my parents, towards my children, towards my spouse, and so on. Right? Grahastha ashram, we use the word responsibility, not obligation. So you should know what is responsibility, what is obligation. Trying to buy them fancy jewelry, trying to buy the next big car, big house, that becomes fancy, right? Obligation, I think that competition, my neighbor is buying, my colleague is buying. Don't get into that. Don't get into the rat race. But we have to still do what is our responsibility. Okay? And as long as you are doing it, you are still Krishna conscious. Again, simplest thing I always ask myself is how much am I doing it for myself, how much am I doing it for Krishna, or how much am I exposing to Krishna, how much am I hiding from Krishna. Anything that you hide from Krishna, you take the responsibility or the karma for it. You're still not completely out of it. Right? If you expose yourself completely to Krishna, then it becomes Krishna's problem. Say, I'm not able to do this, I'm not able to continue this, or I want to do this, I'm not able to stop a certain activity. We all will have certain activities that, the character of a person is best known when he's alone, in darkness, with a mobile phone in hand. Now, the mobile phone in hand is probably something I added, but yeah, when you're alone, when your true character comes in, what you want to do. When you have extra time, what is it that you want to do? That is where we need to differentiate. So practically, we can do everything with Krishna's knowledge. You can keep praying that I'm not yet 100%, right? If you're all 100%, many of us wouldn't be here. Some people are there, but that's a different story. But many of us wouldn't be here. But so we are all trying, right? So Srila Prabhupada has mentioned this. This is pretty practical, right? We are all in the material world because we are criminals. Prabhupada uses this word called criminals in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, saying every individual person is a criminal. That is why he is in the material world, unless he is directed by the Lord to take the others back. Right? So everyone that you meet has come here because he or she has some kind of unfulfilled desire that's going. And that desires, so Kama Anuja, who is Anuja of Kama? Anger, right? So anger is the younger brother of desire. If your desire is not fulfilled, you get angry. So that is practically there, right? So are your desires aligned with Krishna? There are desires that are not yet aligned with Krishna, try to align them. And it's okay if it takes time. We are in a very rush mood. We have to be that I need to improve. And like I said, am I improving with the next beat that I'm chanting? Not with what I did yesterday, 6 months back, 1 year back. But there is a scale of measurement every time. Saying, am I doing more for Krishna than what I did yesterday, than what I did 6 months back, than what I did 6 years back or 1 year back or whatever it is. Last Janmashtami to this Janmashtami, have I improved my service? Last book distribution to this book distribution, have I put in more effort? Keep measuring yourself on the positive side. Don't worry about the negative side. That's automatically taken care of. You are giving more time to Krishna. Obviously, you don't have time to do other stuff. That will go away. Are you clear? Okay, sure. Okay. Yes, we can stop then. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Next, let us thank Sanatana who took out his valuable time and gave us this valuable lessons on Bhishma Dev's pastime. Let us stand one time Hare Krishna Mahamantra, thanking Prabhu for his valuable time.